From its humble beginnings to its current day, the Wyckoff Fire Department has been a long-standing staple in the town and continues to serve the families in the community. In this video, we will be going back and looking at the history and evolution of the Wyckoff Fire Department. After a public meeting was held at the Wyckoff Chapel, the decision to create an organized fire department for the Franklin Township was made. Protection Fire Company No. 1 was established on April 24, 1907, with 30 original members, including community leaders such as Charles Parmley, Daniel Depew, Valentine Gotez, James Winters, and Paul Schrohauer. During this time, the Ladies' Auxiliary was also formed, with their first president being Miss William E. Scott, and was created to provide firefighters with refreshments and child care while they were out fighting fires, as well as fundraising for the departments to buy new equipment. Protection Fire Company's first major fire was at the end of the decade, in 1909 at the Wyckoff Hotel, and throughout this time fought many other notable fires, such as the 1921 Wyckoff Public School fire, the 1922 Harned Store fire, and the 1923 fire at the C.J. Ward residence. In 1923, the ownership of the fire department and equipment was officially transferred to the township, allowing for a complete renovation of the fire headquarters, as well as the installation of the siren system. In the late 20s, the Wyckoff Fire Department joined two associations, the New Jersey and New York Firemen's Association, as well as the New Jersey State Firemen's Association, which entitled members and their families to receive death benefits. Towards the beginning of the 30s, Wyckoff was hit with what is considered one of the worst fires in the history of the town. This fire took place at the Christian Sanatorium, which is now known as the Christian Healthcare Center, where 2 people died and 36 others were evacuated out of the building. After this fire, the department started doing regular drills at the Christian Healthcare Center to prevent this from happening again. During the same time, Protection Fire Company No. 1 was placed under the control of the Township Committee. The committee recognized the essential nature of its service and the need to maintain up-to-date firefighting methods and equipment. In 1938, on the east side of town, a new company was formed, known as Community Engine Company No. 2. Initially, the firehouse was housed in the East Wyckoff Community Club building, now known as Club 176. The original charter consisted of 15 men, including 14 members who were transferred from Fire Protection Company No. 1. In April of 1943, due to the increase of homes being built in the Sycamac area and the expansion of the Christian Healthcare Center, Sycamac Engine Company No. 3 was formed. 20 members joined this fire company on Sycamac Avenue, and in January of 1944, the company acquired a plot of land on which the firehouse still stands. Also in the 1950s, the fire police were established to assist the police in handling traffic at fires, drills, and special events. Also, the Bureau of Fire Prevention was created to maintain fire safety standards throughout the township. During this time, the reputation of the Wyckoff Fire Department began to spread and received nationwide praise from the National Fire Protection Association, and was featured in their monthly The Fireman magazine. On March 22, 1955, a fire broke out at around 2 a.m. at the Protection Fire Company No. 1 firehouse. Although firefighters arrived quickly and battled the fire devastated their meeting room, along with the town clerk and tax collector's offices in the building. But 2 years later, the new fire headquarters was dedicated, and it marked a very important year for the department, celebrating their 50th anniversary. In 1959, a friendly rivalry developed between 3 companies, formalizing as a departmental inspection. Exhaustive preparations of the township's firematic equipment in each company is gone over with a fine-tooth comb by volunteers. This is then followed by a detailed inspection by a panel of impartial judges from fire departments in neighboring communities. This competition, created 63 years ago, continues to this day. In the 1960s, the development of Wyckoff had grown to more than 11,000 people, with residential development springing up on large remaining pieces of land in the township. Due to increasing population and the recognition that the department developed within the Bergen County area, the departmental radio desk at Company 1 was installed. This quickly became a critical link in the network that includes firefighters at the scene of an emergency, those en route, and those waiting at the firehouse. In 1972, an addition was made to the Protection Fire Company No. 1 to create an antique fire museum. Old equipment is put on display here, and as part of this expansion, the donation of a 1973 horse-drawn knot steamer was made. 2 years later, in 1974, Wyckoff's fire department obtained a fire insurance rating of a B, making it the first community in New Jersey with a volunteer fire department to achieve this rating. In 1979, members were put to the test when they received a call for a huge Belgian draft horse that slipped and fell through a small, icy pond. The firefighters had to pump several feet of water from the pond in hopes of rescuing the horse. They then wrapped hose around the horse and called a tow truck to assist in dragging the horse out. Once Big John was rescued, firefighters stayed on scene all day, trying to help the horse regain circulation and keep him dry. A shelter was made, space heaters were set up, and truck generators were used to supply power to electric blankets. After 50 hours, Big John was finally able to get back up on his feet. In the early 1980s, the Wyckoff Fire Department entered the computer age. Under the leadership of Chief Nick Champo, and with the help of the Township Committee, a bid was put out for the purchase of a computer that enables firefighters to keep track of a building's occupants and characteristics, and retrieve the information within seconds. Wyckoff became one of the first municipalities in Bergen County to use computers to better respond to fires. Throughout the 90s, the fire department operated business as usual, until the late 90s, when there were two strange fires of questionable origin. The Aldo's restaurant fire took place on April 16, 1998, and destroyed the Aldo's Italian restaurant and the Wyckoff Ford dealership. The Bergen County Prosecutor's Office determined that this fire was arson after they found a large amount of gasoline in the basement. Then, later that year, on June 3, 1998, the Wine and Spirit World on the corner of Clinton and Wyckoff Avenues went ablaze. Due to the Aldo's fire a couple months prior, speculation began to occur amongst the residents into the possible causes of the fire. It is impossible to talk about the history of the Wyckoff Fire Department without mentioning the events that took place on September 11, 2001. The attacks on New York City's Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the deliberate crash of the plane in Shanksville impacted the world, our country, and our community. On that day, we lost 11 lives from our community, one of those being Dana Hannon, who responded to the Twin Towers and was killed in the collapse of the North Tower. In direct response to the events that happened that day, Chief Alnor recognized the need for the members to be united during this uncertain time. He and his wife decided to bring the department together for a potluck dinner. At this dinner, it was decided that a memorial was to be erected in honor of Dana and all those who had lost their lives in the line of duty. The tradition of a potluck dinner is continued to this day, along with the memorial service to honor and remember the lives that were lost that tragic day. How long have you been in the fire department for?
So a member, I've been in the fire department now. I'm in my 26th or 27th year in the fire department. Similar to you, I was born and raised. My grandfather was a fireman, my father was a fireman, and now I'm a fireman.
Because so how old am I? I'm 49. So you've been a member for
49
years, 49, almost 50 years. Him because
be...
he joined on my birthday.
Literally. Back in those days, when I joined, there was a contingency of men from the fire company who came to your home. You didn't come up here. They came to your home to see your environment and where you lived and all this kind of stuff. And we had just brought him home from the hospital. He was infant, and it was the night that we brought him home, or the afternoon we brought him home. They came that evening. They came to the house and sat down, and and back in those days, you had to be 21 to join. So I had just turned 21.
And then I joined, after I got through 4 years of college, I joined that month that I got back. So I didn't, at that point in time you could be 18, but I wasn't, I was 22 when I joined, 21, 22, something like that.
Then in 1964, the first thing I did when I moved from Glen Rock to Wyckoff, because we bought a home on Richard Place down the way, and but the first thing I did was join the fire department.
Why did you guys decide to become a firefighter?
My father was a member of Fire Company Number 2. My father-in-law was a member here of Company Number 1, and it was only natural. Right?
Both my grandfathers and my father were firemen, so yeah, it was only, and my uncle Ken had been a fireman in Wyckoff. Uncle Jay was a fireman in Wyckoff. My cousin Joseph he had just joined. It wasn't welcome aboard, it's about time.
I lived in Haledon. Well, as a young kid, my buddy across the street he had a fire truck and I had a hook and ladder.
Okay.
And we were playing with matches and the fire got away from us and my mother got it, and back then the phones were, you had to crank them and everything, so it was a while. And my mother actually put the fire out, but we were there. And my mother was very upset with me. And when the fire department got there, they noticed that we had a hose and water. It wasn't the case that we were going to put a fire out. He said, he's going to be a fireman someday. It's okay. And he said, boys, don't be playing with matches.
I've always admired and growing up in the firehouse, it's been just something that I always enjoyed, hanging out with my father and hanging out, my cousins, my uncles, just being a part of the family.
I had, as a kid, growing up in Glen Rock, always heard the sirens and everything else, and I just thought I would like to be a part of that.
What did being part of the Wyckoff Fire Department mean to you?
Well, I think I love the camaraderie of the men, the common purpose and reason for doing that is to help your fellow man or your fellow citizens. And I just felt very strongly that I want to help.
There is a brotherhood within this fire department that is second to none. We're all family. And if there's guys in here that have been here as long as I have, but even the younger fellows that are come up behind me, if I needed something done at home and I needed some muscle, it would take one phone call and everybody else would be there. It's a family, it's a brotherhood. When you go into a fire, you're looking for that guy behind you or the guy in front of you, the guy alongside of you. They're taking care of you as well as you are taking care of them. Their life is on the line, your life is on the line. And they're there to protect you and you're there to protect them.
What is one memory that sticks out to you when you think of the fire department?
Well, I think that, it really goes back to being, again, the camaraderie that you're all working together, and the goal was to put the fire out or put the help with an emergency or an extraction.
There is no one thing, and unfortunately, as one thing is every day. Today we had a fire call. We got a call for an odor of gas in a house on Middle Avenue, and now it's funny because in today's day and age, everything's on the phones, right? So we have groups, and it came over the group first, and it was Emil Vitola's house. Emil Vitola is one of our members here. Gonna get a gas call. It's my house. I can't make it. He was at work. He got in the truck. He got in the one truck and came up here to drive. And Emil's my neighbor. He's two houses down from me. I knew Christina was home, or I knew that he had said Christina's home on the text. I jumped in the truck and I went down there to see what was going on, and then you go through the trucks show up. It was a gas leak out of the dryer. The bottom of the dryer had an issue. Where we would normally, and I don't want to say this is a bad thing, right? Because we always would have made the scene safe, but now it's our member. So, Christina, you're going to get a new dryer, right? We're carrying this one out. We carried it down from the second floor and took it out of the house. That was today's thing.
I keep going back to, like, as a kid, like the family Christmas parties and being able to come to the firehouse, and now having my kids come to their family Christmas parties, and it's just an awesome organization. I mean, the one event that stands out is 9/11 and the way the community came together. And just everything that's happened, and being able to be a part of it and helping others.
And that there was a fire, and it was quite a serious fire, but we had stopped it, and the owner of the house came over to thank me, and he thought that I was going to go back to the firehouse and go to sleep. And when I pointed out to him that all these people here and all these trucks, they came to your rescue. They came out of a bed in the middle. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning. And he was so shocked, that they had moved out from New York or something like that, and had absolutely no clue that. He said to me, "You would volunteer to do this?"
Other than fighting fires, what do you think has been the biggest impact that the fire department has made on the Wyckoff community?
So its outreach program, I mean, our junior program has definitely brought the fire department into the younger and allowed us to get some younger members in. Fire prevention, participating in as simple things as birthday parties. I mean, through COVID, when everybody was locked in their homes and we started doing the drive-bys, and just the smiles that you see on the kids' faces, and when you get to go to the schools and participate in the fire prevention activities, and everybody wants to sit in the big red fire truck, and just to be able to provide that to the community, and see the smiles on the kids and the families, I think it is something that is definitely rewarding. We're here as a service. Fighting fires is obviously by our nature, but those community activities, they happen all the time. I mean, we're constantly being asked to participate in those activities, and I think it's a great outreach. I think the one thing that's probably misunderstood is that we're all volunteer. I don't think that the residents, or all of them, understand that we're leaving our jobs. We're going to school unpaid, and we're doing it for them. We're doing it as a community service. And I think that's something that's just being able to help another brother, sister, family out in their worst time. When we're typically called, it's not in their best time. It could be something as simple as a broken water pipe or a flooded basement. We're there to provide a solution and to help, and the reward that comes out of that, and the friendships that are made, and I think are worth it.
We help everybody for everything. When the fires come in, we get called. When the cops need help, they call the fire department. When the ambulance corps needs help, they call the fire department. When the DPW needs help, they call the fire department. When the YMCA needs help, they call the fire department. When the fire department needs help, we call another fire department. So the thing for the community is that we help the community.
We're a volunteer organization, and every time that whistle blows, we always get a truck on the road. Whether it's 1, 2, 3 trucks out of this house, 1 or 2 trucks out of Company 2, 1 or 2 trucks out of Company 3, we always get trucks on the road, and we're always there for the community. We're volunteers, and we're there for them. We do it because we like it. love it.
Well, we're loved by the community, I can tell you that, and you know, I really think it's had a lot of impact to our citizens because they see us in action.
If there was one lesson that you could take away from being part of the Wyckoff Fire Department, what do you think that would be?
What you put into it is what you get out of it. Some people join just to wear the blue T-shirt, but if you put into it, you get tenfold out of it. The career opportunities, the networking that it's created. It's a great resume builder. And I see it now, and they've told me that I did it. You know, you watch kids come in that are immature and have no responsibility. And as you spend more time in the firehouse, you mature in ways that you never thought you'd be able to mature.
And don't ever give an order to somebody that you can't do yourself.
Teamwork, you know, I can't put it out as myself, but together we can make a difference and put out a fire or an emergency.
Your brothers always have your back.
Trust your family.
Always have your back.